6 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Hassan Gilani. First, the headlines. Prime Minister, paying tributes to the brave sons of the nation, has said the government is committed to purge scourge of terrorism from the country. Deputy Prime Minister will represent Pakistan at a conference on Gaza situation being held in Amman, Jordan today. State Bank of Pakistan has decided to reduce policy rate by 1.5%, fixing it at 20.5%. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, civil society has criticized New Delhi government for its continued human rights violations. 40 Palestinians were martyred in unabated Israeli aggression on besieged Gaza during the last 24 hours. In the ICC T20 World Cup, Bangladesh will face South Africa at New York today. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif attended the funeral and burial of Shaheed Captain Faraz Ilyas near Chunia in District Kasur this morning. The martyred captain was laid to rest with full military honor. Information Minister Ataullah Tarar and military officials and a large number of local people also attended funeral prayer. Prime Minister laid floral wreath on Shaheed's grave and offered Fatiha. Expressing condolences with the Shaheed's parents, Prime Minister paid rich tribute to the unprecedented sacrifices being rendered by brave armed forces while fighting against terrorism. He said that sacrifices by armed forces for the country and nation will never go in vain. The Prime Minister also announced to name the village on Captain Faraz Ilyas' name to honor his sacrifice. He also announced to transform the village into a model village. Earlier, in a statement on social media platform X, Prime Minister said, "The sacrifices of our brave soldiers and citizens is a debt on us that we must repay, relentlessly eliminating terrorism from our nation." Minister for Information and Broadcasting Ataullah Tarar has termed Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's China visit as historic and highly successful. Addressing a news conference in Islamabad today, he said this visit will have positive impact on the country's economy. The minister expressed the confidence that there will be progress on the agreements and projects such as ML1, Karachi Circular Railway, provision of IT training to 200,000 Pakistani youth by a Chinese tech company, and the second phase of CPAC in the next few weeks. He said the upgraded version of CPAC will be mutually beneficial for the two countries. Ataullah Tarar said the economy is heading in the right direction with inflation and current account deficit coming down. The information minister said the country is also registering successes on the foreign front. Referring to the election of Pakistan on the non-permanent seat of UN Security Council with a big majority, he said this shows the trust of friendly countries on Pakistan. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Muhammad Ishaq Dar will participate in a two-day conference in Jordan today in a high-level conference in Jordan on the prevailing situation in Gaza. The conference title, Call for Action, Urgent Humanitarian Response for Gaza, has been jointly organized by King Abdullah II of Jordan, President of Egypt Abdul Fattah al-Sisi, and Secretary General United Nations Antonio Guterres. The conference aims to identify and develop a collective response to the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza. On the sidelines of the conference, the Deputy Prime Minister will likely to hold bilateral meetings with his counterparts from the participating countries. Prime Minister Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif has felicitated Narendra Modi on taking oath of the office of the Prime Minister of India. Modi was sworn in as Prime Minister of India yesterday for a third term. This is Radio Pakistan. State Bank of Pakistan has decided to reduce policy rate by 1.5%, fixing it at at 20.5% from tomorrow. At its meeting today, the Monetary Policy Committee decided to reduce the policy rate by 150 basis points. The decision has been taken due to significant decline in the inflation since February, broadly in line with the expectations. The committee assessed that underlying inflationary pressures are also subsiding amidst tight monetary policy stance supported by fiscal consolidation. This is reflected by continued moderation in core inflation and ease in inflation expectations of both consumers and businesses in the last surveys. Minister for Religious Affairs Chaudhry Saleh Hussain has expressed satisfaction over the successful conclusion of the pre-Hajj flight operations. In a statement, the minister said this achievement is a testament to the meticulous planning and coordination of the Ministry of Religious Affairs. The 48th edition of the Grand Hajj Symposium, titled Observing Sharia Permissions and Adherence to the Regulations Approved in the Hajj Rite, kicked off in Makkah today. Nearly 500 delegates, including scholars and thinkers from across the Islamic world, are attending the event. The symposium is aimed at educating pilgrims about performing Hajj rituals. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, civil society has denounced the New Delhi government's ongoing violations of international laws and conventions. According to Kashmir Media Service, the members, including Dr. Zubair Ahmed, Muhammad Farhan, Muhammad Iqbal Shaheen and Syed Haider Hussain, have highlighted the deprivation of basic human rights of the people in held territory. They call for the restoration of Article 370 and 35A and a swift resolution of the Kashmir dispute. They also condemned the use of black laws like Public Safety Act and Unlawful Activities Prevention Act to arrest and detain innocent people. On the other hand, Indian opposition has criticized Prime Minister Narendra Modi's assertions of achieving peace and normalcy in occupied Jammu and Kashmir, terming it as unfounded. Meanwhile, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has excluded Muslims from his cabinet for the third consecutive time. The new government consists of 30 ministers and 41 ministers of state with no Muslim representation. 40 Palestinians were martyred in unabated Israeli aggression on besieged Gaza enclave during the last 24 hours. 5 Palestinians were martyred and 30 injured in Rafah city in Gaza enclave. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, on first leg of his Middle East tour, arrived in Cairo today to discuss a ceasefire in Gaza. After holding talks with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, Antony Blinken will travel to Jerusalem. Senior defense officials from South Korea and the United States held talks in Seoul today to discuss new guidelines to coordinate their response to any nuclear threat from North Korea. According to a joint statement, the guidelines laid out the principles and procedures for enhancing a credible and effective nuclear deterrence policy and posture. Former Controller News Radio Pakistan Raja Zafrul Haq died of cardiac arrest in Rawalpindi today. He was 77. Raja Zafrul Haq had joined Radio Pakistan as a news monitor in May 1986. His career spanned about 30 years. His funeral prayer will be offered at his native village, Mehramoda, Chuck Bailey Road, tonight at 9. In the ICC T20 World Cup, Bangladesh will face South Africa at New York today. The match will start at 7:30 in the evening, Pakistan Standard Time. And finally, the weather. Mainly hot and dry weather is expected in most parts of the country, while very hot in central and southern plain areas during the next 12 hours. However, partly cloudy weather with light rain and thunderstorm is likely at isolated places in Gilgit-Baltistan during evening and night. Now the headlines once again. Prime Minister, paying tributes to brave sons of the nation, has said the government is committed to purge scourge of terrorism from the country. Deputy Prime Minister will represent Pakistan at a conference on Gaza situation being held in Amman, Jordan today. State Bank of Pakistan has decided to reduce policy rate by 1.5%, fixing it at 20.5%. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analysis, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.